And welcome to episode 36 of the TechnoBuffalo Show. I'm one of your two hosts for today, Sean, editor-in-chief of the site, and I'm joined by Deputy Managing Editor Todd Hazelton.
Hey, everybody.
How are you doing today, Todd?
I'm good. Like I was just telling you, I've been getting some good sleep this week at night.
Sleep is always a good thing.
It is.
It is definitely a good thing. So we got a couple topics we want to tackle this week, and the first one we want to talk about, and we're going to try to be nice about this, is comments on the site. And the first thing I want to address is we get a lot of people saying, it's getting too radical in there, you need to fight the trolls. The thing is, we do fight the trolls. We ban them, we block them via IP address, email address, everything else. Well, the problem is the dedicated trolls create another email address, they rotate their IP address, and they come right back in. And so we do attempt to fight the trolls. And, short of discontinuing comments, which is not something we want to do, it's just, unfortunately, an ongoing battle. And as I've described it previously in the comments, it's kind of like playing a giant game of whack-a-mole. Because as soon as we knock one down, two more pop up. So we are working on that. The other thing I wanted to address, and this relates directly to Todd. Todd wrote an article about why he is happy to use Apple products and their customer service. There were quite a few comments, and Todd decided that he wanted to do an article about addressing some of the questions raised in those comments. And inevitably, we have been accused of, Todd's been accused of holding Apple stock. Todd has been accused of taking payments from Apple.
Using better words to describe Apple products.
That may be one of my all-time favorite comments, that someone actually implied that Todd changes his verbiage when talking about Apple to make them sound better. Folks, I read probably 95% of what Todd publishes. His verbiage does not change based on what he is writing about. So, I just always want to address this. We do not in any way, shape, or form take payment from a company like Apple or Google. We have done sponsored posts. Those are always disclosed. They state very clearly this post was sponsored by so-and-so.
Also never from Apple, anyway.
And that would require Apple to actually talk to us. That's another thing everyone needs to realize. Apple really doesn't talk to the press. If Todd owned stock, ethically he would have to disclose that. Legally he would not, because it's not referring to Apple stock, but ethically he would have to disclose that. He does not own any Apple stock.
Nope.
Todd, why don't you say that in sentence?
I don't own Apple stock.
If he owned enough Apple stock, he probably wouldn't work here.
True.
So, yes, the sponsored posts are always disclosed at all times. And, we are never, ever, ever sponsored by Apple.
Yeah, I think just the takeaway, too, is like I wrote about my experience, and I wanted everybody to know, about a good experience I had. And had it been any other company, I would have done the same thing. It happened to be Apple. And I think our commenters, as we've talked about, people love to, defend Android and defend Apple, and I think that's great. I mean, go at it. I think it's when they start going against each other, me, fine, attack me all you want, but it's just like, do so professionally and have a good argument, and then we're all good. And I think, that's what was good, though, but there was great discussion in that first post, and that's why I wanted to do a follow-up post to sort of highlight some of the discussion there. A lot of people made some really good points about, Apple carries great in the United States, but when you leave the United States, it's not good. That's something I didn't know because I haven't had any experience with that. So, and I think somebody worked for AT&T and said, hey, you can bring in your device and get it swapped out too. So there was good information there, and I just wanted to highlight that. But of course, and I think we talked about this too a little bit, people are going to defend their purchases in a way that makes them, vindicates the purchase. Sure, and I expect that. You know, like maybe you bought a Honda and you really love Honda, and so you're going to say, like, if somebody's going to shoot down Honda, you're going to be like, no, 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 I love Honda. Like, how dare you say that? So I feel like that's a big part of it, too.
Yeah, but see, that's something. It's never made because I believe I've talked about it on this show before. When the Blu-ray HD DVD war was going on, I went HD DVD. I did my homework. I felt that was the superior format. That's what I purchased. As you can tell by walking to any store and looking at the $5 Blu-ray bin, I obviously picked the wrong format. But at no time did I ever feel the need to belittle Blu-ray. That was my purchasing decision. That's what I went with.
Right.
Yeah, it stung when it lost, but I was just like, you live and learn. You move on. So I've never understood why people feel the need to belittle or attack the format that they, OS format, whatever, that they aren't using. Fine.
Right.
You chose what works for you. That has been something that's been always very lost on me. But I don't know why.
Right.
So anyway, yes, we are very aware of the problems in the comments, and as for leaving comments, we love engaging with all of you. We encourage you to engage with us, and if we get something wrong, call us out on it. All we ask is call us out with a little bit of professionalism. We understand you're all not professionals, but there's no need to say that we're an idiot or believe us, our skin has gotten thick enough that it doesn't faze us, and I don't believe I've ever gone home crying. Well, I have gone home crying, but for totally different reasons. Anyway, so moving on to our other topic, Mobile World Congress. Todd, you leave next week to get your feet on the ground.
Yep, I leave on Tuesday, and I have meetings leading up until this show, which actually kicks off on, I think it officially kicks off on the 2nd, but like all of everybody's big events are on the 1st. So I want to say like HTC, Huawei, Nokia. You can bring up the calendar. Samsung, obviously, and then there's a Pepcom and stuff like that. So, and meetings in between every one of them. So it's going to be a really busy first day, even before the show starts.
Yeah, and for the first time ever, we're sending you with help.
Yeah, I'll have a videographer, so we'll have some great quality videos on the YouTube channel.
Yes, Ron Parita is going over to Spain with Todd, so
it's a big help because otherwise you just see me with my hands, and in the past I didn't have the best camera, so
I've done that like once or twice. I think it was like CES 2012 or something like that, and I was like, I know. So my tip of my hat to you, Todd. I don't know how you've managed to do that for so long. Well, and actually we have a question from Sasha Bahal about who will be at MWC, which we just answered. Todd and Ron Parita will be there. This will be how many MWCs for you?
Oh boy, 4 or 5.
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah, it's been quite a few.
It's my 3rd year with TechnoBuffalo going. I don't know if... I think it's my 4th altogether.
And we have another question from Sasha Bahal related to Mobile World Congress. In terms of scale, how big is MWC compared to CES or IFA?
I think in terms of actual like attendees, I think there's like 70,000, something like that. CES this year I think had like 93,000, but then it had like exhibitors and stuff too. And I don't know what IFA is, but in terms of news coming out of it, Mobile World Congress is huge. CES is huge and IFA is huge. IFA this year was surprisingly big. So I don't know, like in terms of the amount of people, but what's being announced in terms of being pressed there. Mobile World Congress and IFA are becoming 2 huge global shows.
Yeah, definitely. Hey, what about? Do you know anything on the square footage?
I don't. It's really big.
Why don't you have these facts and figures right at your fingertips, Todd?
Well, they actually switched the conference center 2 years ago. in Barcelona, from one of the feiras to another one. And this one is the old one used to be like, it was almost like city center area, and you'd walk in these huge big pillars on either side of you, and then there would be like conference halls sort of lining on both sides, and then towards the end, and it was like an outdoor hall separating everything. Obviously there weren't booths in that outdoor area. Now the new one is very much more like CES, like you're indoors and you walk from like hall 1 to like hall 8 in the very back and stuff. So
Which show was it you were at that had the putting green?
that was Mobile World Congress last year. There's usually like a little putting area. I'm sure it'll be there. Maybe I should do something on it.
We still don't know exactly why the putting green exists, but
It's like they call it like a social area or something. Yeah.
yeah. So there actually is a little fake grass putting green area set up, which is just the bizarrest thing I've ever heard about at a trade show.
Yeah. But the food in Barcelona is amazing, as you can expect. So that's one of I really look forward to that part of the whole World Congress.
Yeah, I am
Lots of
jealous
ham.
of the food you're going to get to experience. You get to go to all the great. I mean, because you get to go to Germany, you get to go to Spain. I'm in Missouri. I'm going to Irvine next week.
Yeah, I love
So
it.
there.
Orange County.
Yep. So, which actually has a really good barbecue spot. I've never figured that one out.
Yeah, we went there last year. Great barbecue.
Yeah, Lucille's. Yeah, I really enjoy Lucille's barbecue. But moving along here, so, and this kind of relates to MWC from Sasha and Bahal. What do you expect to see at MWC besides the S6 and the M9?
Well, I think we're going to see something from Nokia, the part of the company that Microsoft didn't buy. Remember, they bought the devices and services, and that's now Microsoft's mobile team. And then Nokia still existed, and they launched the N1, I think it was, the Android tablet. They have a press conference, and I think we might see some news from them. I don't know if it's going to be device-related, but perhaps. And then I also think we're going to see some Windows 10 stuff, Windows 10 for phones. But as we saw the other day, there's still the GDR2 update coming for Windows Phone 8.1. So maybe we'll see like new hardware that'll obviously work with Windows 10 for phones, but maybe it has that GDR2 update on it. I don't know. But I'm hoping Microsoft introduces some new, something to replace the 930 or 920 and 1520, 1020, all the Lumias that still have Nokia branding and stuff. And then I think we're going to see probably a lot of wearables and stuff like that from various companies, but I don't know. BlackBerry has a press conference. Maybe we'll see one of their new phones. So a lot of it's sort of, a surprise until we get there. S6 and M9 are one of the, two of the topics that have been teased for a long time now. So they seem pretty definite. Galaxy S6 Edge too, I think, and maybe the M9 Plus. I don't know. HTC just teased this morning on Twitter. Expect something huge. And that could just mean like, oh, it's a big announcement, but I don't know. Maybe they're going to have their phablet too. Seems early to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm curious what the heck HTC meant by that tease, but maybe they just think the M9 will be huge.
Right.
Who knows?
And also their wearable. I think we'll see one from HTC with their Under Armour partnership, and then Samsung's new round Tizen smartwatch is supposed to be make an appearance. So.
Here's a question related to you traveling to all these countries, and I actually don't know the answer to this. How many languages do you know, Todd? That's from Brezen Franco.
Only one, unfortunately. I wish I knew more. And I actually lived in Arizona and took Spanish for years, but I wouldn't say that I'm fluent in it at all.
I know enough Japanese to basically say, excuse me, I'm a giant American and I'm in your way.
Yeah,
but,
I learned how to order coffee and food in all of these countries. That's about.
I actually I got it.
Them up.
One thing I did in Japan was I started, like on my third trip, I started carrying around a little notebook with me, and their restaurants there will have like wax representations of the food outside, or they'll have pictures. So I'd look at that and see what I liked, and then I would just copy the kanji exactly.
Oh, there you go.
And then when they came to take my order, I would just show them that. It worked great.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, it worked.
In the past, I've used Google Translate a lot too. Like if I'm telling a taxi driver where I have to go and we're lost in translation somewhere, you can type it in English, it'll translate, and then everything's great. So
that was the other thing I did. Every time I got there, when I would check in, I would get a business cards from the front desk.
Oh right, yeah, get your hotel.
Yeah, and then I could just hand them to the cab driver. But
yeah.
Yeah, of course, now this was back before camera phones were really around. So now I could just take a picture of the food I wanted or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot easier, probably.
Yeah, there's a part of me that wants to go back to Japan just to experience it now with all the new technology. Like, with Google Translate and everything else. It'd be a very different experience.
I don't know if Uber's in Japan, I assume. I don't know. But in Germany, it just relaunched in Berlin when I was there for IFA, which was awesome to have Uber. I mean,
yeah. Oh,
sometimes it's hard to find cabs.
I used the heck out of Uber when I was in Manchester this last trip.
Yeah.
It just launched there like 8 months before, and it made life so much easier.
Yeah, it does. Especially when you're running from press conference to press conference, and they're like on March 1st. We're not going to be at the conference center. It's sort of like Las Vegas when they hold them all in different hotels. So going all over the city to try to get to each one on time. So it's very useful.
Yeah, exactly. Also from Brezen Franco, will TB review the BQ Ubuntu device? I never know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Released last week. For low-end device, it seems interesting. It has the OS as novelty, and will you also consider reviewing the Jolla phone, although a bit late to ask that now. Where was the Ubuntu phone released? I don't remember.
In Europe, but the way they're doing it is sort of like you can buy one if you're following them on Twitter and you see like where it's going to be available for retail and stuff. So it's sort of like, I think it's a flash sale. It's not like everybody can get it. So it's hard. We'd love to review one. I know we followed them for a long time, all the way through, when it was first demoed at early PepComs and Showstoppers and stuff, up to this launch. So it's great to see it finally launch, and I'd love to try it out. But we don't have a review on the way right now. Probably
we just simply don't have a unit
widely available.
Yeah. It's kind of like someone's going to have to fly to Puerto Rico at some point. That's going to be fun. Yes, folks.
Google's modular phones.
Yes, we do plan on going to Puerto Rico to get our phone. As to this, yes, if we can get those phones, we'll gladly review them. It's just a matter of getting them. Mm-hmm. That is definitely always on our radar. So before we move on, is there anything else you'd like to say about MWC?
No. It's going to be really busy. We're going to have as much news as we can put up on the site, so keep an eye out.
Exactly.
We'll do our best to get you everything.
Exactly. And this is a good question for Todd because he is co-spearheading this project. From Sasha Bahal, what is the main reasoning for starting a newsletter for TechnoBuffalo?
Yeah, I think it's something we've always talked about doing for a long time.
Time.
Our competitors are doing them. The main reason, we thought it would be a fun way to pick out some of the stories we like. So I curated it, actually, the first one, and moving forward, it'll be input from everybody. But some of the stories we think are the best ones on the site that we think readers might have missed. And so you can, if you want, you sign up for the newsletter. Right now it's going out Wednesday at 10 a.m. in the morning. Hopefully we'll schedule it so it's local in the future. But really it's just about serving you content we think you might have missed, and it covers all departments, so you'll get mobile, gaming, video news, all kinds of stuff. So it's really just a fun thing we hope our readers like.
And just for clarification, that's 10 a.m. Eastern Time. In the future, we hope to make it 10 a.m. for every time.
Wherever you are, yeah.
Yeah. So that is coming down the road.
Mm-hmm.
And then we've got a question here from Keegan Anderson. Apple Car. Rumors say it looks like a minivan. Has Apple decided to accept that they aren't the hip company they used to be?
I can't believe it would actually be a minivan. I feel like, because I saw, like the leaked car, and it was like an actual Chrysler minivan. I don't know. Maybe they have like a shell that they're using on purpose, or who knows if there's even a car. I know XGM CEO yesterday said like Apple has no idea what they're getting into. Like we're taking steel and creating a car out of it. Like Apple's never done that. But today there are all the reports that Apple's sort of grabbed people from like GM and Ford and Tesla to help build a car. So I don't know. Again, this is sort of like what we talked about in the last show. It's like this rumor has been going around for so long that at this point it's like until I see something, like I just have a really hard time believing it. And maybe, like we said, maybe Apple's experimenting with it, or maybe it's seeing what it can do to improve, technology for an existing car maker. So, for example, yesterday the GM CEO, a former GM CEO, the guy who said Apple has no idea what they're doing, he said if I was still at GM, I'd give Apple full control over the infotainment and all the entertainment in my cars. That's a pretty good compliment, and I think that maybe Apple is working on something that it could, a manufacturer could say, here, you guys take full control of this part of the car. I don't know. Or maybe they're really building a car.
Yeah. Now, as for the minivans, yes, we've seen the pictures and even some videos of them. My suspicion is that is not the car. I think that is actually a street view, and that's pure speculation. I think it's Apple doing their own street view.
Right. Yeah, that was the other thing.
Yeah, I don't think the minivan is the car. But that being said, I still am not convinced they're working on an actual honest-to-goodness car. But, I guess we'll find out at some point, or we may never find out. I mean, we've brought this up before. We've heard about the Apple TV now for years, and even to the point of people saying they've seen it in Johnny Ive's office and everything else. Who knows?
Yeah.
It could be that this never comes out. They could be working on it and we never see it.
And I was thinking yesterday, too, GM guy could have been saying this because he doesn't want Apple in this space, so...
That's always a possibility, too.
Shoot down the rival before they even get it. I mean, I know he's not technically in the space anymore, but he was, so...
Right. From Sajjan Bahal, what are your guys' thoughts on home automation, and what is stopping you from making each of your homes smarter? We've actually, I know I've addressed this before on the show. For me, it's that there's still too many platforms. I desperately want home automation. I actually am thinking about buying a Nest thermostat because now it works with Dropcam and it works with the Umatello. Both devices I already have, so if I buy the Nest thermostat, then it becomes a hub for those devices. And that intrigues me. I like that idea. And because Nest is making it somewhat of an open APK. So maybe, but for right now, for me at least, it's just a matter of there's too many platforms and nobody seems to be able to decide on one standard.
On one, yeah. I actually... So what stops me is I lived in an apartment and I don't own it, so I can't, I'd love to put a Bluetooth lock on my door and have all kinds of fun stuff, but I can't go banging up the walls. But I did, my father-in-law's beach house, I did put a Nest in probably like a month ago, 2 months ago. Super easy. It was really fun to do. So I'd say the only thing stopping me from home automation is that I don't have a home. I'm in an apartment. But I'd love to do it, and I guess I could do the outlets, the smart outlets and stuff like that, but it's a one-bedroom apartment. I mean, walking 3 feet to my lamp is sort of just like, I'll just do it. I'm not going to buy it. But I'd love to, if I had 2 stories and I wanted to put the lights on downstairs, and that'd be great. I'd love to do it.
From David Berkovich, you should rename the podcast show to the Sean and Todd Happy Hour.
That would be a funny name.
It would be a great name. Maybe have some cocktails.
Yeah, right. Instead of coffee tales.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
To hide the logo? I don't know. We're not sponsored by Starbucks.
Yes. From Sajjan Bahal, how about making Joey a substitute for Todd when he's not here? The whole problem with Joey, and let me just get this out of the way, because I know we've had some skip weeks where it seems like, oh, you can just drop Joey in. The problem is Joey and his team have been up to their eyebrows in games to review.
Yeah.
And that's something, and I know we've addressed this as well before. The thing is, with the phone, you're using it in your everyday life. With a game, if it's a 70-hour game, that means Joey or Eric or Ron have to sit and stare at a television for 90 hours
and get through it.
To get through it. So it's just simply been a matter of, unfortunately, Joey is swamped. Now, that being said, there is no show next week because I'll be in Irvine and Todd will already be in Spain, and it's always difficult for me to do a show while I'm out in Irvine. The following week, I am talking to Joey. He's checking his game review schedule. So hopefully in 2 weeks, Joey will be on the show. If he's not, I will get somebody else. I do not want to take 2 weeks off again. So no show next week. Roy Choi, the managing editor, just IM'd me. That's not the only problem with Joey. Yes, Joey has a lot of problems, but in the aspect of being on the show. So no matter what, there is no show next week, but in 2 weeks there will definitely be a show. We will figure that out. The people I work with. From Keegan Anderson, what are we expecting from Pebble? I really want one, but the black and white screen is not appealing, even with the week-long battery life. Any plans to change that? We don't know.
I don't know, but I feel like they wouldn't give that up. They shouldn't give that up because it's sort of like why we recommend Pebbles right now. Like if you need a long battery, buy a Pebble. Yeah, right. But I hope they do something with like color e-ink, maybe. And they also teased when they said they have new hardware coming. They teased a new software platform too. So maybe it's a little smoother, quicker. And then they said they had like new controls for the software, so presumably different buttons or something like that. And I wouldn't be surprised, but I'm not positive. I'm just guessing here. If Pebble this time around released, like say it's like Pebble 2.0. I don't know. I'm just making that up. Say it's Pebble 2.0 and then like Pebble Steel 2.0. I think they should do that at the same time this time around, but we'll see.
Definitely. Yeah, I definitely think they should come out at the same time.
Yeah.
Make buying decisions a little easier. From Dominique Weber, and this is an interesting question, how did that partnership between TB and Volvo come along? The way any of these partnerships, be it sponsoring videos or whatever, usually the companies reach out to us and say, hey, are you doing anything related to this event? We tell them yes. They come to us with what they're looking for, and if we do turn down some sponsors. We don't just take every thing that comes along.
Volvo's not a sponsor though. Just our coverage on them was just through an agency that represents Volvo reached out for some of the broadcast work we do.
Well, no, didn't they sponsor some of our videos?
No, Volvo's not a sponsor.
No, back at CES, I mean.
Not Volvo.
Oh, what's that? Okay, well, no.
Volvo's just like any other company.
Todd's trips were not sponsored.
No.
No. But, all right, so speaking to anyone that sponsors us, that's how it happens. So, but no, for some reason I thought Volvo sponsored C. I don't know. I can't remember last week.
Same way we do with all car company coverage. So like Lexus, Hyundai, when we review their stuff or write about it. I've tried to just sort of write my articles are on Volvo around experiences with the cars because I'm not an auto guy. John is, they out in Irvine, they know a lot more. But Volvo actually has an office nearby me, so it's easier for me to grab the cars and play with them and meet with them. So that's actually how it worked, just kind of like local in New Jersey.
Yeah. From Brisbane Franco, with all the new Linux-based mobile OS, Tizen, Sailfish, and Ubuntu Firefox finally hitting the market, do you think Windows Phone and BlackBerry are still able to maintain the third position? Well, yeah, I think so, simply because we won't be lumping all those into the same name.
Yeah, those are all going to compete separately, and therefore eat at each other's chance at market share in emerging markets, which is where all of those phones are targeted, including Windows Phone and BlackBerry especially. So.
Right. So
I don't know. It's going to come out to one winner. I think Windows Phone's probably going to try to take a lead in those markets, and I think it already does in a lot of areas. So probably that's on track. But who knows? I mean, I like some of those operating systems. Ubuntu looks great. Firefox is super low cost, but Android's going there too with Android 1. So I think that's the thing, is these guys are going to face Google's initiative, which is Android 1, in these emerging markets with low-cost, pure Android devices. So it's going to be tough.
Yes, the charts unfortunately aren't going to just say Linux and consider what is the core of each of those operating systems. They're going to be considered Tizen and Firefox and so on. So yeah, it won't be easy for it to get into a third place spot.
Yeah, I mean, it's based on Linux too. So
yep. From Sasha Bahal, what are your guys' thoughts on the new ViewMaster by Google and Mattel? Will it be a gimmick or be great nostalgia experience?
I think it's a gimmick. It seems silly. I mean, I get the idea. It looks like augmented reality and virtual reality for kids. I don't know what it costs. They didn't say, I don't think. But to me, I'm most impressed by the Gear VR right now from Samsung. I feel like that's sort of a real experience. This ViewMaster is a neat little Google Cardboard-based thing, but I think it's a kid's toy.
Yeah, speaking as someone who was way into ViewMaster discs when he was like 4, I like the nostalgia aspect of it, but kids have so many other distractions these days.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cool novelty, but I don't see it doing much.
Yeah, I feel like a kid these days is gonna be like, "Where's my iPad?" Like, I don't want this.
Exactly.
I don't know, maybe.
I need to play Candy Crush. Can this play Candy Crush? But going back to the comments for just a second, from Brazen Franco, one really annoying thing on the comment section is the flag trolling, and that we can't post pictures and links unless you have super mod powers. Okay, the problem with the links and the pictures is that those are an all or nothing situation. We can't turn on links without turning on pictures. The concern we have with the pictures is while we have filters set up for certain words, we can't control what's in a picture.
Yeah.
So we're very, very concerned about exactly what would be in those images, and that is another layer of moderating that we would have to add. We are looking at it. We are actually talking with Discuss and seeing if there isn't something else we can do. But yes, we've heard all of you. We know that you want links and pictures, but yes, we could just walk over and flip a switch, but we also are discussing what are the ramifications of flipping that switch. So that is why it's not happening immediately. Let's see. Now, very timely here from William Zing. Do you think Sony is going to give up on the hardware business since there are reports that they are selling most of their hardware divisions?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I guess if you look at it now, what's doing well for them has done what? PlayStation and some of their camera businesses, and then they're looking at getting rid of mobile and their TV businesses, which, if it's not making money and it hasn't been for a while, maybe it's time they do that. And I think they also said maybe audio, right? Which is interesting. So it would be. I was talking to Roy about this yesterday. Roy was actually on CNBC. I think it was yesterday, right? Talking about this very topic. And is Sony no longer a hardware company? And I saw some headlines that said the same thing. I think, yes and no. PlayStation is still very much hardware, right? But if it's, Roy said, well, then it's also sort of like an entertainment hub. And once you own one, maybe you're not buying it that frequently. It's not like you're still buying a Sony phone and then a TV and a PlayStation. It's an electronics company. So I don't know. It's weird. Maybe they are sort of really exiting the hardware business if you think about it in that aspect. And focusing on PlayStation seems like a good idea. I mean, you get sales on the unit itself, and then obviously on the games and everything through PlayStation Plus and everything.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand why they exited the PC business, but
and e-readers.
Yeah, well, and e-readers. But I don't know. I'm concerned about Sony. Sony's got a lot of issues right now, so we'll see where it goes. I mean, and I'm an old school Sony. I had an original. Well, not original, but a very early Sony Walkman and all that. I've always had a deep affection for Sony. But I don't know. We'll see how they come out of this. I have faith that they can restructure this. but we shall see. From Dominique Weber, how happy are you about Wi-Fi routers like Arrow that set out to make setting up routers easier?
Actually, I haven't used that.
I haven't used it either. You know, the thing is, that's one of those situations where I've never found setting up routers to be difficult.
Yeah.
That being said, I know if I told my father to set up a router, he'd look at me and go,
"That's what I was going to say."
Oh, who's it?
I feel like the easier the better. You know, it's a company that if maybe somebody will buy Eero and build that technology into their own stuff and make it easier. But it's exactly what I was talking about with you. And I think on an earlier episode, when I went down to set up that Nest that we were talking about with the smart home, it won't connect to a certain router with Optimum online because Optimum controls all of the router settings, which is ridiculous. I'd never seen this before.
Neither
so I had to go out and buy
so
a new router.
odd.
I had to go out and buy a new router and all this stuff. But if this Eero thing, can make it easy so that people can buy a Nest and not worry about configuring the router or if it works or not, then that's great. So not only just setting it up, but then also using the router to power other things in your house. In this case, a Nest or whatever it is you want.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea. No, definitely if it helps people out. From Brezen Franco, with a Raspberry Pi and a little knowledge in C and hobby-level electronics, you can have home automation now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not me. I don't know any C.
I took C++ for several years, but I probably don't remember any of it.
Yeah, exactly. And one last question here from Jordan Becker. Your opinion on the Nexus 6. We get this one a lot.
Yeah, I love it. It's expensive, but I love it. It's great fun.
Yeah. Well, I believe that is going to do it for this week. As always, we appreciate you joining us. And as I said, we will be off next week because I will be in Irvine and Todd will be in Spain. And the week after that, it will be me for sure and somebody else. Hopefully, Joey, we're going to try to work that out. So until next time, please do find us on the iTunes Store, where if you do rate and review us, that does help out the show. You can also find us on Pocket Cast. You can find us on the Stitcher app, which means you can listen to us anytime, anywhere. Or you can subscribe via RSS feed. Anywhere there are podcasts, you can find the TechnoBuffalo Show. Until next time, I've been Sean Awney. I'm the editor-in-chief of TechnoBuffalo.com, and I've been joined by Deputy Managing Editor Todd Hazelton.
Bye, everybody.
Until next time, everyone, take it easy. Bye-bye.